Hello everyone! To Daytona we will be covering the just newly added Daytona in this extended track guide. Be ready to get assed by the redesigned bus stop chicane. We are using the Aston today with the Hymo setup. I chose this car as it is one of the more stable cars over the chicane, which is absolutely crucial on this track. It's also very good on exits and you can really lean on the TC. Acceleration and top speed is also on the faster side. 10% discount code in the description. There are also free setups made by the community for almost all GT3s. You can find them in my Discord. My community already had setups for Laguna Seca and Daytona done 30 minutes after 1.4 release. Today we will not only be talking about general braking points and track limits, but also about pit and tint exit, do's and don'ts and overtaking opportunities. Hopefully this guide will help you with mastering this track. You need to have a good run over the start-finish line. You can take the outer ring off the banking, but it's not really needed if you have a good exit out of the chicane. When you go over the start-finish line, go over to the wall on the right and look at the white line on the ground. I brake just after it. Brake deep into the corner and open up to the right side of the track. Downshift to first gear and look for the tires on the left. When you've just passed that, go aggressive on the throttle again. In this corner, it's important to get your lines and braking right. The first part of braking should be as straight as possible to minimize overloading the front tires. When I come closer to the white line, I start releasing the brake while simultaneously turning the steering wheel. You don't need to open the entrap even more by going over the white line. Downshift and try to bring the car back all the way to the inside where the white tires are. Staying more narrow like this seems to be better. It's important to trail brake towards the apex for that extra rotation and be decisive on throttle. With a good setup you can lean on the TC and rotate the car very nicely. Make sure to not run too wide as the track becomes narrow very quickly and there's a possibility you clip the grass and crash like this. No! No! That's actually fucking funny. In this corner it is important to brake hard in a straight line while speed is high, to maximize braking and ABS efficiency before turn-in. Also don't be scared with throttle on the exit. Watch out racing side by side here as it can become really awkward. For the first horseshoe, look for the side road on the right and brake about 5 meters before the side road starts. This is also around where the third to last line on the ground is. Brake hard in a straight line and trail brake towards the apex. Be early on the throttle and run all the way towards the outside of the track. It's important to not brake too deep into this corner, as you want to concentrate everything on the exit. Try to manage the throttle here. Some people downshift to first gear for extra rotation and upshift on exit. You want to hug the yellow curb, but not actually touch it, as this unsettles the car. On exit you can run all the way over the white line without worrying about track limits. Make use of this as it really helps the exit, but don't overdo it by going over the yellow curb. Be decisive but also careful on throttle, as it is pretty easy to spin the car here. Don't ask me how I know. Also be really careful with people coming out of the pits. Turn 4 should be easy flat, but some cars and setups can get settled here, especially if you're offline. Don't clip the inside yellow curb too much. For turn 5 you want to go immediately all the way to the left of the track and look for the second to last line on the ground and brake just before it. Or look at the corner of the yellow curb and brake about 10 meters before it. Brake hard and trail brake towards the corner going down to first gear. Watch for this change in curb to get on the power. Shift up on power and try to get the power down. For this corner it can really help to go in this little side road and brake a tiny bit to the right, towards the apex. This way you have to rotate a tiny bit less. Watch out that you don't clip the grass too much doing this. I like to brake towards the middle of the track. It's a good mix between sacrificing entry and exit. Go on the power as soon as the smooth curve ends and try to lean on the TC and go towards the outside curb. Make sure to hit this apex very early as this corner opens up. You can get on the power so early because of this, without worrying about going too wide. Watch for where the side road starts and brake just after it. Brake on the curb and try to hit the yellow curb. Go on the power as soon as you've passed it. For this corner, I like to extend the track as far as possible by braking all the way on this yellow curb. This way you have a slightly better entry for the big oval section. Don't hit the grass on the outside. Do an early apex here because you have a lot of room on exit. After you've hit the yellow curb, go immediately on power and lean on the TC. You can use quite a lot of track, but try not to go extremely wide here. Try to be smooth with the steering wheel and get a feeling on where the perfect slip angle is. It's important to manage the power here on exit. You want to have the perfect mix between keeping as tight of a line as you can get, but not engaging TC too hard or oversteering. If you manage to go very wide, don't worry, as the exit is very wide itself and later on there is also banking that can help you turn the car in. So pray for America and keep your foot planted. Down. Make sure to not go too deep on the brakes in this corner. A massive thank you to all the supporters of this channel. Now for the oval section, you want to stay as close as you can to the yellow stripes at the apron. Now we come up to the mighty chicane. This is where many legends die, I've heard. Go as close to the wall as you dare and watch for one board. There will be a line on the ground. Brake hard on the line and try to keep the car stable throughout these chicanes, focusing it all on the exit. This corner used to be pretty easy, but the rework on these curbs has made them insanely more difficult. You need to treat every curb different on the chicane. The first one you should completely devour and go all the way over it. Brake a tiny bit more in between the first and second curb. Lightly graze the second curb, do not go over the edge here. Brake a tiny bit more if needed in between curb 2 and 3. This way you can also slightly rotate the car more. Go on power and slightly graze the third curb. Go fully over the last curb, but it's important to keep your steering wheel straight. By cutting the first curb, you have a way better entry for the chicane and it also doesn't unsettle the car that much. There are some people that go way harder over the third curb, but that is way too risky in most cars for a race in my opinion. The last curb is also deadly if you look at it wrong, and that's why you need to complete almost all of the rotation beforehand so you can keep your wheel straight going over the last curb. Watch out for track limits here. You want to have the perfect speed going through the chicane. You go too fast, you go wide. You go too slow, you hit too much of the curbs. Try to find the balance here. This is one of the hardest corners in the sim, so try to slowly build up your speed through here. Only when this corner clicks, then you can try to go faster. One last note is that if you do not make this corner, it's better to cut the last curb to the left, as hitting the tire barrier here will result in a massive crash as they are rock solid. On the banking, you want to be as close to the apron as possible. Also for the start finish line, be as close to the yellow line as possible. This was a 1:45.364. These are the target lap times for each skill group. When you're just starting out in sim racing, you should aim for a 1:48. Someone who does lower tier daily or league racing should aim for around 1:46. Someone who does higher tier daily or league racing should aim for around 1:45.3. And the absolute alien strive for around 1:44.3. For pit entry, you want to look for the yellow and white line. Drive parallel with the white line and brake just after crossing the yellow line. For an optimal pit entry line, you can follow the white line while braking. The pit exit is really long. Make sure you do not hit the wall here. On pit exit, you need to watch out for incoming traffic, as you're immediately on the racing line. Brake at the last line for the third corner. Overtaking on this track is pretty easy. Just stay in the toe of the car in front and you can overtake at the chicane. Higher wing than this guy. Lower I mean. Another good overtaking spot is at turn 1, but be careful of the different lines people take. Hang on! Understeer! Yes, push me wide. Turn 3 can also be a decent overtaking spot if you have a good run out of turn 1, because it has a fairly long braking zone and it is pretty wide. Bro goes wide! 200 I